Great, and we're live. So welcome everybody to this remote interview. My name is Lisette, and I'm interviewing people and companies doing great things remotely. And today I'm super excited. We have Beat Buhlmann on the line. Beat, you're the general manager of Evernote for the EMEA region, which is, for people who don't know what that is, it's Europe, Middle East, and Africa. So very exciting. I know everybody knows and loves Evernote, so really great to have you here. And Beat,
thanks.
Let's start with the first question, which is, what does your virtual office look like? What do you need to get your work done?
Well, I have many different offices. Like I have the official office here in the HQ in Zurich, but I have my train as my office in the morning when I commute to the office, or in the evening when I go home. Sometimes I work from home. If I need a quiet moment to think, I go to the Lake of Zurich and just do a thinking session there. And sometimes I need a strong coffee, and I work a bit from Starbucks here in the main station.
So you have many different offices. And what kind of equipment do you take with you? Do you need headphones, or is it just your laptop and a Wi-Fi connection?
It's my laptop, it's my cell phone, which is also my mobile Wi-Fi hotspot, and a headset. Yeah.
Okay. Now, I'm guessing that this is, because you're working at Evernote, that this is something that other people at Evernote are also allowed to do. Tell us a little bit about what you do at Evernote, and then what it's like to work remotely if you guys do.
Yeah, so Evernote in a nutshell is a productivity company. We make people or companies more productive. We use a software called Evernote, which has a lot of artificial intelligence and machine learning features built in to get the most out of your brain. It compensates for the weaknesses of your brain, and it gets the most out of the strengths of your brain. And this is kind of what we do. So we reach out to companies who know us already and have maybe 5 or 10 licenses, but there are many other people in this company working, and they don't even know about it. So we help them promote Evernote and all the advantages within the company. We work with business clubs, business association like British American Business in the UK, Institute of Directors, CBI, Confederation of Business Industries, all those associations, to tell them the good things about how you could work in a more productive way without spending a lot of money.
Right. Super important. And I got to say, I don't know what I would do without Evernote myself. My whole brain is in Evernote. So yes, thank you all for your awesome product. I'm a big fan myself. So we were talking a little bit before we got the recording started that at Evernote, people are, in general, the default is to work at the headquarters. But if you wanted to work somewhere else, you can. And how does that work there?
Yeah, one of the first things I did when I started is I asked everyone to go into a room, gave them a pen for the whiteboard, and said, please write on the whiteboard all the things that you don't like. Right? It could be communication-wise, product-wise, rules, processes. Just the left-hand side was all about things people don't like. And then after 10 or 15 minutes, we had a long list. Right? And then we spent the rest of the meeting, how can you address this? And the outcome is so-called team charter, or a team code of conduct. So it's not that I came and said, this is how we do it. I listened to the problems, took them on the journey of fixing this issue with me together, and we agreed jointly on a code of conduct. On this code of conduct, we have things like calendar hygiene, email hygiene, Slack hygiene, which is our chat program, but also meeting hygiene and home office hygiene. Just a few bullet points. For instance, do you need to read emails at 10 in the evening was one question, right? Because nobody talked about it, nobody knows, expectations are not clear, people felt under pressure, oh, there's an email coming in from your boss at 10, if I don't reply, I might have a problem. All this distrust kind of thing, you have to fix in the very beginning. So we agreed which channel is used for what type of communication. For instance, if your house is burning, are you going to send an email to the firefighters? No, right?
Right.
You don't do that. I don't know anyone who sends an email to the firefighter while the house is burning. You call. Because every channel has pros and cons. But we don't learn that, neither at school nor in companies. So this is the first thing I do to set the foundation or the basics of inter-team communication here. So we agreed email can never be urgent. It's the wrong channel. Email can contain important stuff, but not urgent. Urgent is phone or text message, for instance. Right? So we just have a set of rules, and if you want, we can share our code of conduct, and you can share it with your listeners here. That's totally fine. This is it's not a secret. So you can see all the rules we have. Also, like calendar hygiene. If someone wants to do home office, that's fine, but I need to know. If nobody is in the office at 11, I'm getting worried. Did something happen? Is there an accident? Do I need to call the police, right, and start the search? So we agreed that if you are not in the office, you write where you are. You also add travel time. Like if I fly to the US, I have to add it. If not, people might book meetings, and then I say, oh, I cannot do it because I'm in an airplane. Then the other person says, well, how should I know it, right? Clean calendars and openly shared calendars are very important. You can still mark a couple of items private if you want, but the default is open and shared. That allows you to have clear and clean calendars, that allows you to have meeting management super easy.
Right. And what about your home office hygiene? What are a couple of the things that are on that list?
Yeah, also here it's something like, I don't want that people work all the time in the evening or over the weekend, right? Because this always on thing is very dangerous. Like people sometimes don't realize how many hours they work, then they cannot relax enough, then they get sick, and then it strikes back for the company. So I want to make sure people have time to relax. Like we say, we play hard and we work hard, right? Both has to be possible. So home office is if someone says, I want to go home at 4 because I have to pick up my kid at school and I want to bring him to the swimming lessons. But then I'm happy to have a call with the headquarter at 9 in the evening, because then it's in kind of 1 or 2 afternoon at the headquarter. If you want to do that and it fits your work-life balance and it fits your family thing, that's totally fine, right? I don't tell them they have to do it, but they can do it.
Right. And has this always been the culture at Evernote to work this way, or is this a newer thing?
Well, at least since I joined, like I introduced this, but I have heard before people somehow did it, but nobody really knew, like, is this okay? Is it too much? Is it not enough? How do I inform people that I'm not here? That's why number one thing for everyone who wants to have a productive and well-functioning virtual team, jointly define a code of conduct.
Totally agree. I totally agree with you. In fact, it's part of the Work Together Anywhere workshop. It's the first section of the workshop. And it takes all the basic misunderstandings out of the way. Like there's going to be enough misunderstandings without the basic stuff getting in the way.
Absolutely. And it's like building a house. You cannot start with the roof. Where do you want to put the roof? First you have the foundation, then the wall, then the roof. So don't start with the roof. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah. So I want to jump to, I was going to bring this up later in the conversation, but you've touched on the always on aspect of working remotely. And it's true. We get emails at 10 and I found myself, I was up until 10:30 answering random emails. And I thought, no. Now it's time for Star Trek and cognac and like, it's time to relax. So they'll be there in the morning.
Or whatever, right?
Yeah, and so your latest book, you've written some other books we're going to get into. I was going to do it anyway. It's the other way around. But your latest book is about personal development, called "Become the CEO of Your Own Life." Yeah. And in this book, you talk about combining private and business. So let's start with, tell us a little bit about what this book is about and why you wrote it, and then let's go into the 24/7 always on culture.
Yeah. So the reason why I wrote this is, when I became a people manager for the first time about 13, 14 years ago, I really looked forward to having career conversation with my managers, because officially, at that time I was at Hewlett-Packard and then I worked for Dell Computers. That was part of our culture, but then nobody did it, right? My managers never did it with me, so I said, the moment I become a people manager, I want to do a better job and help people grow and develop, not just in the current role, also the X+1 or X+2 next step kind of thing. Because this is what I have always missed, but what I would have appreciated. So I then said, okay, what kind of framework do I use? And I Googled a bit, and some companies have frameworks, but they are super complicated. Like answer 250 questions, then you get a 7-dimensional diagram and nobody really understands what it means. And at the end, there is always this so what. I never understood so what. What's next, right? And it was not visualized enough. So I said, I need to create my own approach because what I need or what I think what would be good for my team members doesn't exist, or at least I haven't found it. So I created a framework which addresses two main issues of career development. The first one is the term career development already itself. Doesn't make sense. The term career development doesn't make sense as much as the term work-life balance doesn't make any sense at all. Because work-life balance means you have work, which is bad, and life, which is good, and they're fighting against each other. Which doesn't make any sense because work is part of your life as much as sleeping is part of your life and your hobby and your family and so on. So it's not good to have one item fighting against the other. You should have a holistic view. So let's just call it life balance. And one part of it is work, of course. So the main issue is don't think in silos, think holistically. And the other thing is a lot of people start with the second step. They start with, what could I do next, right? And what most managers do, they say, oh, here's a list of trainings, choose one, and then the PDP is over after a minute, right? And what most people do is the 5th time management course or the 7th presentation skills course or whatever, right? Kind of doing the same just for the sake of, okay, check the box, I have another training. But actually, this is the second step. The first step is, who are you? What are your values? What are the things that you do not want to experience in your life and why? Do you have any, we call them no-goes, like where you say, no way, I'm not going to do that. So no-goes. Like I have people saying, I would never work for an oil company because they are bad for the environment. Okay, that already helps. Like this person will never work for an oil company. So whenever this person needs a new job, she never needs to apply for an oil company. Very simple. So these kind of things are very important. It's like, again, building a house. Don't start with the roof. Start with the foundation. The foundation is you as a human being. So my approach differs from others that I don't talk about career development and I help you, do this course and then do an evening MBA and then do this and so on. I take also the private life into account. You start with a double mind map on a large sheet of paper, not the normal letter size, the double letter size thing, because people always run out of space. So you do a double mind map. One is private, one is professional. And then you just start exploring without really thinking, brainstorming style. What are the things that you aspire, that you like, that you don't like, things that you are good at or not yet good at, but you would love to be good at. Just an unstructured, chaotic way of visualizing the private cloud kind of thing and the business cloud on one sheet of paper. The reason why you have to do it on one sheet of paper, you will see in a moment. Because once you have everything on one sheet of paper, you can use your fingers, super important tool, your fingers, your index, and point at something in your private life and at something in your corporate life or career life and say, well, this does not fit together, right? If you want to have a healthy life, a lot of family time, 5 kids, and at the same time you want to be CEO of a Fortune 500 company by the age of 27, it's probably not going to work. Right? Having both views and aspirations on one page is a sanity check for you, for your own expectation towards yourself. Because what people do is daydream. One day they dream in family terms, the next day in career terms and see the Ferrari and whatever, and then again family. They go back and forth and never make progress. So once you have this double mind map, you check yourself a bit, does this actually make sense? But then you choose 2 to 3 challengers. People you trust, but also people who know you from different backgrounds. Could be your mother, could be your neighbor, cook friend, one from the box club, whatever, right? You choose people that could give you feedback and you explain to them the whole framework and use them as a challenger. You explain everything that you wrote on your double mind map and they should either challenge you or confirm you. Things like, you write here, you are very good at this. To be honest, you're not even average, right? So sanity check. Or someone says, hey, you are very good at writing poems. Like, why is this not here? Oh yeah, I totally forgot. right? So after the 3 sessions that you have separately, not with all of them together, you have version 4 of your life map. Because this double mind map thing is your life map, work and private life together. And that is a very good, solid basis of yourself, of your expectation, of your strengths and weaknesses. It doesn't tell you what you should do now and what you should do later, but you need to start somewhere.
Right.
Second step is then you transform this double mind map into a life cycle model, which is on another sheet of paper, where you have short-term, medium-term, and long-term. And then I ask people then to put what they have on those double mind maps into this life cycle model. Most things are in the current life cycle. People want to do everything at the same time. Now, the good thing about this process is visualization. Our brain works best with visualized items, not text or numbers, right? People, when they see their own life cycle model, they say, oh, in the first life cycle, it's crowded. It's so full, like, I'm going to do this and this and that. And then you see yourself without me telling him, hey, looks a bit crowded here, right? Why not moving a couple of items to the next life cycle? They realize it themselves.
Yeah.
And then they stop dreaming and become real. For instance, if the company offers you an evening MBA for 2 years, 3 times in the evening and Saturday full day, that makes perfectly sense maybe from a career point of view. But at the moment, maybe at home you have 4 small kids, right? Guess what? It's not going to work. You either get divorced or you don't get your MBA degree part-time.
Right.
The right thing, but the wrong moment. So people then move, like you cannot really move kids to the next life cycle, so you kids stay if you already have them, but then you move your MBA maybe to in 2 or 3 years or whenever you feel it's appropriate, and that frees up time. The more you move to the next life cycle, the more the current life cycle frees up, and you have actually to focus on the few items that remain there and you get them done.
Yeah. So it sounds brilliant. I really love your approach. The one question that I have is, do people have any sort of resistance to combining their personal and work lives? I know that now, for me, it's a total mesh, and that's how I've always wanted it to be. But I know a lot of people, they want to leave the job at home at the end of the day, and they still have that like, no, totally, I want to keep it separate. Do you have that also, or are people more open to it?
Absolutely. And they don't have to share the PDP, the personal development plan, like the first and the second part with me if they don't want to. If they want me to be one of their 3 challenges, I'm happy to do that. Right? I get to know the person more, and then also I can help more with my network, with my experience and so on. But some people may say, I want to have, maybe it's also kind of a trust thing. Some people take more time to build trust. You don't have to share this with me, but the outcome then is important. When you talk to me about then,
right.
Okay, what could I do next? And I know that you went through this process. It's well-rooted. It's not just a hipster idea, today this, tomorrow something else. It's well-rooted, it's stable, and I know you went through a process. You probably know now what you want and what you don't want. And if they want to share it with me, I offer this as a free service, but I don't take it personally if they don't. Important is to have a proper and solid foundation about yourself and clarity that you cannot do everything right now, and build kind of a little plan. I give you a little insight into my PDP. When I started my own PDP, my uncle got fired at the age of 52, and he couldn't find a job anymore. Because here in Switzerland, if you lose your job after 50, it's almost impossible to find a new job. There's something to do with the salary cost and the pension plan cost. They go up over time. The older, the more expensive. So he never found a new job till he got retired, and then he had a lower salary or a lower pension because he didn't work all the time, right? So I said, oh my God, like, what if that happens to me, right? So I worked on a plan B. And I say, okay, what do I do now to make sure, should I be fired after 50, that I can say, thank you, give the key back and leave with a smile. That's okay, what do I love doing, right? What are the things that I'm really good at and passionate about? Then I figured out after all those sessions, like coaching, teaching, helping people move on, making teams more productive. And I said, okay, maybe I should go into teaching and consulting. So I tried to get a teaching assignment at the University of Zurich. Took me a moment. But they gave me a chance. I had good grades and ratings from the students. So since 2007, I have a teaching assignment at University of Zurich. And thanks to that one, I got one at University of St. Gallen, and then IMD, and then Holt Business School in London, and it keeps growing. So I'm building, as a side job, my teaching and consulting career because I love it. I have maybe 15 teaching days a year, so it's not too much. You can do it as a hobby. But over maybe 15 or 20 years, I have a lot of experience and meet a lot of people and school owners to grow my network. If they fire me tomorrow, I just turn the switch and go on teaching and consulting.
Yeah,
but you
very smart.
If you get fired at 54 and you haven't done anything, nobody thinks that you are a good teacher or consultant because you haven't proven it. So starting the plan B early and then do that. Right? This is one of the things that I have on my PDP, and that also told me to be able to teach something. That's why I did a part-time doctorate, the virtual team management thing. I thought at that time that's going to be important, so I worked, did my PhD part-time, so I could earn money and study. Then I had this PhD and wrote this book, and that was my entry ticket to teach. Because do you know any professor who can teach virtual team management?
Nope.
Right? With practical experience from Dell, HP, and Google? I don't. So that's the entry ticket. So try to find an entry ticket that allows you to start. And once you start and you do a good job, it's all downhill. It's on the work.
Right.
If you do a good job, people spread the word, people ask you maybe even more than you can actually go for teaching.
So let's then dive into this virtual team management, because you did write this entire doctoral thesis on it. So you said that the doctoral thesis was like 600 pages, but it's been condensed. Don't worry, people. It's been condensed into a very a book that is more easily digested.
So about 120 pages, and I always write the book in a way, if you don't have time to read the whole book, read chapter 5. Chapter 5 tells you do this, do that, do this, do that. It doesn't tell you why, just do it. But if you want to understand why, then read the whole book.
Right, right. So it's got a little bit for both. If you want to just dive in, you can read chapter 5. If you want to know all the theory and the whys, then you can dive in.
Absolutely. That was the idea.
So virtual team management gets a bad rap because many, many managers, one, they don't like their teams going virtual because they don't trust them. And then leading a virtual team, managing a virtual team is totally different than managing a co-located team. Absolutely. So I want to talk a little bit about that, the trust, and then what are the differences in terms of managing a virtual team?
Yeah. There are several items. Like one is you already said trust. Well, if you cannot trust your people, you need to change them because you also need to trust people in a co-located team. If you think that people cheat on you or cheat on the company sitting next to you, that doesn't work either, right? But what a lot of managers don't understand, you cannot force trust. You have to earn trust as a manager. You have to do good things constantly over a certain period of time that people see he's not just bullshitting me now because there's the annual survey, kind of the employee satisfaction survey, but he does it even before or after the satisfaction survey the same way, right? Just don't play games. Just be yourself, live up to your own standards, be very transparent. Like here at Evernote, every Monday morning at 11, we are in front of a whiteboard. Everyone has to write before 11 what he or she wants to do by the end of the week, just on a whiteboard. We have 6 boxes. Everyone writes in his box what he or she wants to do. Then we talk each other quickly through, and then we have total transparency. Everyone knows who is working on what. You can even prevent duplication of work, because if I say, I want to do this, and then someone else in my team says, oh, Bea, 2 years ago, we already did something. I'm going to send you the slides. I don't know that because I wasn't here 2 years ago. So we have interactions, prevent duplication of work, have total transparency, all these kind of things together with the code of conduct take usually 3 to 6 months to build a level of trust where then the whole team's going to fly.
Right. So then what are the different styles? What do you do differently for your virtual team than you do for your co-located teams in terms of, the code of conduct, number one, I totally agree with you on that. That's a huge thing. What are some of the other things that you use?
By the way, code of conduct is also important for a collated, for a local team.
True.
You also use email, you also use different communication channels. Even there, you wouldn't send an email to the firefighter, right? Even there, you talk about which channel is for which kind of message. Even then, you should agree, do I have to read emails after 8 in the evening or not, right? So this is for any kind of team. It starts with hiring. You have a different hiring when you hire a virtual team member because, as you already mentioned, there is a virtual team skill set. If you hire a virtual team member, the classic way, you only check the classic things like does he fit the team, the culture overall, and does he kind of live up to the job expectation. Like an accountant has to be a good accountant, a programmer needs to be a good programmer. But most companies don't check the virtual teamness or the virtual team ability, right? So because you can be a very good engineer and totally fail in a virtual team, or you can be super successful, but you have the same knowledge of coding.
Right.
So in my book, I came up with a couple of virtual team skill set things that you need to check. And that's why you need to change hiring. Of course, you check whether he can code or is a good accountant. But then it doesn't stop. I do the first interview on the phone only. No video conference, no face-to-face. Why?
Okay.
That allows me to check the verbal expression. In a virtual team, you have a lot of verbal expression. Not always you have Wi-Fi, not always you have fast Wi-Fi to do video conference, right? There's a lot of phone calls or conference calls. And I want to see whether someone can express him or herself without pointing at the slide over there. This is the first thing. The second thing, which is the most important one, at the end of the first phone interview, I give homework. That's 2 questions. I repeat the questions 3 times. Right? So everyone can clearly write it down. There's no stress test. And I ask them, please repeat the question in an email and answer with not more than 5 sentences. Also this, I say at least twice. Why do I do that? A lot of problems nowadays, a lot of people nowadays have problem listening. Listening skills is more important than talking skills. But nobody checks them in an interview. So then you have hired someone who cannot listen. So you have to tell him 20 times the same thing, makes everyone unproductive. I give them a very simple task of repeat the question and not more than 5 sentences. More than 65% of the people don't get this. They send me an email either with 7-page log, where are my 5 sentences, didn't listen, or they don't repeat the question first. Because if I send it to other people to review whether this makes sense, if you only have the answer, you don't know what the question is. This is a very simple test. Can people really listen, simple things, or not? Because if not, you will have problem every single day.
Yeah.
I didn't, I misunderstood this, and it's going to drive you nuts, to be honest. So this is a listening check in the first part of the phone screen. Homework by email, 2 answers, not more than 5 sentences. That way you already reuse about 2/3 of the candidates. It doesn't matter how old, by the way, whether young or old, it doesn't make a difference, I figured out.
Okay.
And I do a video conferencing session to check, can they deal with video conferencing? Can they share screen? Because screen sharing is very important. You can talk for an hour to figure out that you actually talked about something different. If you had shared your screen, you said, you talk about this project. Thanks for showing, because I actually talked about another project. So again, the brain is visual. Visualize as much as you can. People sometimes make jokes here in the office about me, because I often say, guys, visualize, visualize, visualize.
Yeah.
3 times. It's so important. And then I see how that goes. And then if that goes well, then we have a face-to-face interview. If it doesn't make sense because you are here and the other person is in India, that might be a different things. But I have several steps where I not only check whether he's a good accountant or a good coder, but can he listen? Most important thing. Can he react correctly? Can he use modern tools like Skype, Hangout, whatever? Because this is the basic for a virtual team.
Man, it's solid gold information right there. I really like that you use the very different methods to test the different skills. And I'm kind of amazed at how many people fall out after the verbal and listening competencies tests. Amazed.
Yes, I'm amazed too, but I made really a decision. I don't want to hire people who cannot listen, because it's bad for me, it's bad for the team, it's bad for the client, it's bad for everyone.
Right. Or follow instructions.
Oh my God. Right? If I have to tell someone 5 times the same thing, then I already start searching a replacement, because it's not good for anyone.
Right. Right. Super
So,
important.
yeah, it's very important. And that's why I think checking the virtual team skill set, and virtual team is not white or black. It's a continuum. You can have a little bit of virtualness, like I'm on the first floor and you're on the second. A bit more, I'm in London and you are in Leeds. Okay. Or I'm in London, someone is in Tokyo, someone is in Iran and has to pray at a certain time, and someone is in New York and you have time difference. And like, you really have to look at the degree of virtualness of your team. And depending on the degree, like a little bit, medium, or highly virtual, you need to have different setups.
Right. So we're nearing the end of in fact, we're nearing the end of the end, but I have so many questions, but I have two more questions for you before we end. The first one is, what do you like so much about the virtual teams? I mean, you did a doctoral thesis on this. So what is it that you're so passionate about with this?
Well, I figured out that it gives me the flexibility to do other things. If I have to be 8:30 to 6:30 all the time glued to a table, it removes a lot of flexibility. Like, I have some teaching assignments. Like today at 11, I left the office because I had a teaching assignment just next door, 11 to 12, which has nothing to do with my company, with Evernote. Of course, I put in a little bit of an ad for my company, a little bit, of course, but officially this is my private thing. So I can do that. Because I work in a company where they don't say you have to be here from that time to that time, I can get my work done more or less spread over the week. Of course, I have other team members and I have one-to-ones with them on a weekly basis or bi-weekly basis, and I have some things that I have to do or with clients, but this virtualness gives me a chance to actually do more things in a smarter way. I have all my information in Evernote, all my teaching assignments, the material, the first book, second book. Actually, the second book, I almost 95% wrote in Evernote.
Awesome.
Because when I did the first book, there was no Evernote, right? Before Evernote was founded. And this allows me to do the family thing. Like, I have all the information about the glasses of my son, about the glasses of my son, about my car insurance. I have everything in Evernote, and if I need it somewhere, cell phone or laptop or tablet, I have everything in my pocket, and I can work in Starbucks, at the lake, at home, in the train, in the office, on the top of a nice mountain, you choose.
Right, you're in Switzerland, so that's you have the ability to go to a top of a nice mountain anytime you want.
Absolutely.
So I love that. I love what I really like about Evernote allowing that is that it allows for more well-rounded people. And a lot of managers are scared to let people have that flexibility because they think, oh, they're just going to be lazy. They just want to lay on the couch. But I think you're a perfect example. Like, you're using your extra time, your flexibility to teach in a university and, of course, spread the brand, the Evernote brand. Not that it needs to be spread. Everybody loves Evernote. But it allows for a more well-rounded person. And I think that that's probably what everybody would want on their team is diversity and well-rounded and more perspectives and people who are bettering themselves.
Yeah. However, there's one important thing. Not every person can do that. There are some people who need daily or even hourly guidance. It's not because they are good or bad people. They're just different. Some people, something to do with self-esteem and maybe things that happen in the history, in the past. Like, not everyone can deal with the full flexibility. A lot of people would be lost. And, now I do this, I quickly go shopping, and I do this, and then at the end of the day, it's 9 in the evening, I haven't done anything, right? Then I have to job. Like, not everyone can do that. It's like passing a driver's license. You need to pass basics, right? And some people who need strong guidance on an hourly basis, or who need a manager who comes every hour, hey, well done, now do this, then, hey, really well done, now do something else. Those people cannot work with this freedom. So you have the right people with the right mindset, but also the right skill set to do that.
Right. And a lot of people actually like going into the office and being there. And that should also be great. Yeah.
I mean, look at Apple. They spent several billions of having the most expensive, most advanced office in Silicon Valley because everyone works from home. No. Working from home makes people feel lonely. Right? When I come here, we have a very nice office. Once you come here, you will see it. We have elephants all over the place, white walls, big windows. It's nice and great to be here. In the morning, we have a catch up with other people in the team, what they did, and like this is important, very important. The social interactions. But sometimes I just need to do 2 hours of deep work.
Right.
Then I need to go either in the meeting room or I go, as I said, in Starbucks or stay at home. Right.
Now, did you just say elephants?
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Well, our logo is an elephant, and we have a lot of small elephant, medium-sized elephants, elephant pictures. I mean, just step by and have a look. You will see. Very nice.
Love it. I just had to clarify. Okay, so last question, which second to the last question. I have to get a couple of in there. Advice for people who are just starting out. What would you tell them?
Well, first of all, think about yourself, whether you are capable of virtual team management. Like, do you as a manager have the skill set and the mindset? Because if not, it's never going to work, right? So be honest with yourself. If you are a micromanagement kind of person, it doesn't work.
Right.
It doesn't work. Find another job where you don't need to have virtual teams. It sounds easy and harsh, but it's just the way it is.
Right.
The other thing is when you start, like there are two cases. Either you build your virtual team and you hire everyone going through the process I have talked about before, or you inherit the team.
Right.
Two different cases. You can build your own team. You can hire the people that fit perfectly well. You do the virtual team skill set test, so it's all going to be nice. If you inherit the team, you have to figure out who can do it and who cannot. Right? And sometimes I also already had the case several times that I say, look, this person just doesn't fit here. It's not a bad person, it just doesn't fit. So I help this person find something else in my network.
Yeah.
But it doesn't fit that purpose of this team here. So manage those out who cannot do it, don't want to do it, who cannot do it, help them find something else and bring in people who can do it. Or, of course, in most cases, like would be the best, you already have people that you inherit and they already think that way, right? I was lucky here at Evernote that most people had this open mindset, are interested, want to make progress, want to learn things. So that is great. But this is something that you have to figure out. You have the right people with the right mindset for this setup of your team. And then just do this team charter exercise. That's the very first thing.
Yeah. I really like that you say that because I think a lot of managers and teams hang on to people that aren't a good fit. And that really brings the team down. So it's not that it's a bad person. I like that you said it's that it's simply not a good fit for whatever the reason that it might be. To make sure that you don't have those people on your team. You really need to have people who are a good fit.
Yeah, like if someone asks me, hey, do you want to lead the Museum of Arts in London? I'm terrible in arts, right? I don't even know which building has which kind of style, which is a Victorian style. I don't know that. So I'm the worst guy, right? No.
Right. You're not going to teach classes on that.
No, I teach nothing, but not art.
Yeah, I know nothing about cars. So when people show me their new car, I think, oh, that's a nice red car. And then it ends there. Right? Yeah, it has wheels. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So last question, easy one, which is if people want to find out more, if they want to read your books and if they want to get in touch, what's the best way to do that?
Well, I have built a homepage just called www.swisspdpapproach.com, or you just Google that and then you see the book, you can see the table of content already, you get a couple of pages you can read, you can see testimonials. I have some further material, like I have a one-page thing that you can look at how the process, all the 3 steps actually work from a high-level point of view. So all this is already for free on the website. You have a video that you can watch and see to kind of get a feeling what this PDP approach is all about. And then from there you can book either paperback, ebook, or you can send me an email if you want to just have the simple PDF version.
Great. And I'll also put the website in the show notes. So SwissPDPapproach.com. And you know it's good because it's Swiss. So
yeah, and proven and tested for more than 10 years.
Also, indeed. And there's a whole, experience behind it, of course.
Just read the testimonials on the page and then you will see.
Awesome. Well, Beat, thank you so much for your time today. Really, I think what you gave the listeners today is solid gold material, and I think that hopefully people will go forward and build those team charters on your teams. People, that is really important.
It was a pleasure to help. It was a pleasure to be here, and yeah.
Great. Until next time, everybody.
Thank you.
Be powerful.
Thanks. Bye bye.